When Meredith screamed that I'd be arrested for violating HOA parking codes, I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the warrant she was waving was fake. And I would know. I'm the chief of police, and I signed a real one. The look on her face when I didn't flinch, you bottle that up and replay it in slow motion on a rough day. There she was in full Meredith regalia. Oversized sunglasses, a clipboard clutched like a holy artifact, and that righteous HOA smug that could sour milk. The warrant she held in her manicured claws was printed on glossy paper like a high school PowerPoint project. Yet she stood like the sovereign queen of suburban law, daring anyone to challenge her. I'm Marcus Doyle, 39, sarcastic by nature, and unfortunately for Meredith, the newly arrived police chief of this pastel-painted cul-de-sac. I moved here for peace, a good school for my daughter, and a driveway big enough for my vintage Jeep, which apparently was an affront to Meredith's vision of neighborhood harmony. Too utilitarian, she said. Her words. When I bought the house, the HOA was defunct. No meetings, no fines, just a dusty rulebook no one read. Then Meredith held a backyard election. Wine, cupcakes, and 4 votes later, she was in charge. Within a month, newsletters reappeared, signs popped up, and Meredith waged war on everything that didn't match her beige aesthetic. And from the moment I moved in, I was her main target. It began with a letter about my daughter's car. Too sporty. Then it was the lawn. Too natural. Then my Jeep. Too masculine. Fines started rolling in. $50 for displaying a non-conforming vehicle, $104 for unauthorized curb parking. The citations arrived on pink stationery with glittery borders, like detention slips from a glitter-obsessed middle school principal. At first, I ignored her. Then she towed my Jeep. I came home from a double shift to find it gone, and a sticker slapped on my garage. Repeat offender. Final warning. That's when I stopped laughing. She'd filed the tow under Public Safety Ordinance 422. I looked it up. No such ordinance exists. Meredith hadn't just annoyed me. She'd impersonated municipal authority. Now she was in my jurisdiction. So I got petty. I began collecting every fake citation, every newsletter that referenced a made-up law, every HOA notice dripping with legal jargon. I talked to neighbors. An elderly man said she threatened to arrest his grandson over a scooter. A young couple was fined for planting daisies without approval. Meredith was on a power trip. Then came the fake arrest warrant, delivered in an envelope labeled urgent legal action. My daughter handed it to me, worried. Meredith had used my job title, misspelled my name, and cited Statute 911B, not a real law, as ground for citizen's arrest. She claimed the HOA had jurisdictional collaboration with local law enforcement. She wasn't just petty, she was deranged. I needed more to take her down, something irrefutable. So, I called in a favor of the county records office. They sent over every HOA action Meredith had filed in the past year. What I got back was a buffet of fraud. Fake signatures, made-up codes, even forged names of dead judges. She was charging processing fees, too. One neighbor paid her $300 in cash to waive a noise citation. That's not HOA enforcement. That's extortion. I quietly took it to the district attorney. But Meredith, oblivious, escalated. The next day, I got a voicemail. Her voice smug. Consider this your final warning, Mr. Doyle. Remove the Jeep or face detainment. You may wear a badge, but that doesn't make you immune to the law. She actually believed it. Believed the HOA had more power than the police. So, I played along. I smiled when she walked by. I feigned nervousness when she taped notes to my door. I nodded when she waved her clipboard like a saber. Then came the HOA emergency meeting, held in her driveway under fairy lights. She announced the community's first corrective action. Target me. Plan. Citizen's arrest. She handed out flyers titled HOA Authority Update, complete with an eagle watermark and her face in the corner. Neighbors received jury summons for a disciplinary hearing in her backyard. She painted fire lane on the street to justify towing cars. A teacher cried when threatened over a Live Laugh Love bumper sticker. Meredith claimed it violated HOA neutrality. Meanwhile, I was documenting everything. At night, I reviewed footage from porch cameras. Meredith leaving notes, spray painting curbs, snooping in yards. She once held what looked like a black-painted hairdryer, pretending it was a radar gun. She wasn't just power-tripping. She was unraveling. Then she showed up with a new warrant, wax-sealed like a wedding invitation, signed by Judge Alan Matthews. Matthews had been dead since 2018. I gave his eulogy. I asked who gave her this power. She said she created a hybrid legal model, HOA plus citizen-led enforcement. She even had a database of non-compliant residents she planned to submit to a national homeowner registry. It doesn't exist. She bragged about altering documents, editing PDFs, forging signatures, even watching YouTube tutorials on legal formatting. All on my body cam rolled. I sent the footage to the DA. The task force was stunned. 3 days later, we prepared to serve the warrant. But Meredith had one last act. She announced an emergency enforcement summit in her backyard. Mandatory attendance. HOA IDs required. She'd laminated ID cards for everyone. Her nephew and his friend, wearing orange vests, posed as enforcement officers. The morning was surreal. Birds chirped. Sprinklers ticked. Meredith's backyard transformed into a DIY courtroom. Folding chairs, red and gold drapes, and a podium made from a recycling bin. Only 5 people showed up. 2 were there to film. One was her cousin eating a Pop-Tart. The others had been threatened with fines. Meredith rang a bell and began reading charges. Overgrown bushes, unauthorized lights, Halloween decor violations. Then she called my name. I walked across the yard calm, hands in pockets. She clapped. "Marcus Doyle, you are charged with multiple violations under HOA law," she said, pointing to a whiteboard. I asked about punishment. "Community arrest," she replied. Her nephew would ensure I didn't leave my home. I asked if I could appeal. She nodded gravely, only with a written confession. "Actually," I said, tapping my shirt, "I do have something to confess. I've been recording this summit, and the DA just gave the go-ahead. Meredith Langley, you're under arrest." The world froze. She laughed. Then the officers stepped out. Her smile vanished. They read her rights as she stammered, waved her clipboard, and shrieked, "This is a private HOA function. Ma'am, you impersonated a judge, forged legal documents, and extorted your neighbors. We have jurisdiction." Her nephew bolted. Her cousin filmed. Meredith was cuffed in her fake courtroom, folding chairs and all. Even then, she yelled about HOA sovereignty and demanded a neighborhood appeal hearing. One neighbor set off a firework. He claimed it was a test. I didn't buy it. That afternoon, I helped remove signs, peel paint off curbs, and unplug the speaker by her porch that played pre-recorded warnings in her voice. "You are being watched. HOA compliance is mandatory." Some wanted to burn her newsletters. I suggested saving them for evidence or prison mail. That evening, my daughter and I sat on the porch. Peaceful at last. She asked if Meredith was going to jail. "Maybe not forever," I said, "but long enough." Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. The voice hissed, "You think this is over?" Meredith always has a backup plan. She hung up. The next day, gold ink flyers appeared. Meredith's Legacy, a community uprising signed by citizens for HOA freedom. Return address? Her cousin's house. He declared himself acting community legal liaison. Made business cards. Called his yard the Justice Annex. Some new neighbors believed him. He claimed Meredith was framed, that her arrest was a kidnapping. I went door to door with the truth, video, documents, court orders. Most people saw the light. Some apologized. But her cousin wouldn't quit. He formed the Karen Protection Unit. Sorry, Meredith Protection Unit. Wore vests, carried clipboards, tracked anti-HOA rhetoric. He threatened Miss June again. That's when I called the city. Filed harassment complaints. The mayor, whom Meredith once tried to sue for saying community unity, stepped in. Within 48 hours, the campaign crumbled. Flyers vanished. The Justice Annex was shut down. Someone hung a sign, "Free the neighborhood," with Meredith's face in a red slash. I didn't hang it, but I laughed. At her court hearing, Meredith wore a beige pantsuit, ankle monitor visible. She represented herself, calling the charges a misunderstanding born from administrative passion. The judge wasn't impressed, called her reckless, manipulative, delusional, sentenced her to 18 months probation, a $5,000 fine, and a psychological evaluation, banned from any HOA role indefinitely. We celebrated with pizza and lawn flamingos. Lots of them, bright pink, glorious, a direct violation of her old decor list. We voted to disband the HOA, unanimously, sent a farewell letter titled, "So Long, Tyranny," with a photo of her fake warrant and a sticky note. Nice try. It hangs in the bulletin box by the entrance. A month later, a letter arrived. No return address. Red ink. You may have won the battle, but Meredith always plays the long game. My daughter rolled her eyes. Is she starting a prison HOA? Maybe. Maybe not. But we're ready. For now, the neighborhood is quiet. People wave, talk, host barbecues, let their kids play. Meredith is gone. Her reign is over. Her glittery clipboard? It's now a lawn ornament in my backyard, stuck in a flower pot next to a sign that reads, "Justice served." Faded, bent, covered in bird poop. Perfect.